let's watch a good movie. How about The Ridiculous Six?
You mean The Hateful Eight?
The Ridiculous Six.
Oh, you mean the one from Adam Sandler. You know, the greatest comedian to ever walk the face of the earth.
Daddy's the bad guy.
Shut the fuck up, Mark! This dog just came up right behind me, nodded me so good. Oh, hello YouTube. This is Adam Noyce of AN Productions, and welcome to this episode of my review show thingy. Joining me once again is my good compadre, Mark Allen Shoppy Jr. II. And
hello.
Yes, and so we watched The Hateful Six. Is that what it's called? I can't remember what it's called.
It's called The Ridiculous Six. The new Adam Sandler movie.
I love Adam Sandler. You told me before going into this that you haven't seen any Adam Sandler flicks, really. His new ones.
Yeah, like the most recent one, excluding Hotel Transylvania, because that one was actually pretty.
That's actually.
It was decent.
Agree. That's actually pretty good. Hotel Transylvania.
The last bad Adam Sandler movie.
The bad Adam Sandler
was Zookeeper.
Which that is like right up there with Benchwarmers. I don't know if you've seen Benchwarmers. He's
It
actually
was
not
a
in
while
Bench. Yeah, he's not in Benchwarmers, but that was pretty fucking bad.
Adam Sandler was in Zookeeper. He voiced the monkey.
And he sounded just like this. That's why I hate. He did a movie called 8 Crazy Nights. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that movie is so, and like everyone here like praises it, and I'm like, how can you praise such a piece of shit? It's so terrible. It's terribly written. It's terribly acted. It's terribly voiced. Terrible well, actually, the one thing saving grace of that movie, I found the animation pretty good.
Yeah.
The latest Adam Sandler movie I've seen, and it pretty much vowed to me never to watch any Adam Sandler shit again. And I just broke that promise, but I vowed never to watch any Adam Sandler shit again, was Jack and Jill. I actually did not go to the theaters to see this. I was not going to pay money to see that piece of crap.
That's a smart thing.
I saw the trailers on television, and I really thought they were fake. Then I found out he was taking on a Western, and I'm a fan of the Western genre. I like my John Wayne Westerns, however, I prefer the Italian spaghetti Westerns more. The Sergio Leone films, the Sergio Corbucci films, all those films that really romanticizes the West.
Yeah.
And by romanticizing, I mean really shows how violent it fucking was and like glorifies the violence. Those kind of movies. I adore those films. I believe they're fun. And so I saw this and I was like, you have really good potential here to make something really fucking funny. But then I saw Adam Sandler was attached to it and I was like, oh no. Because I was like, you have a good chance to really kind of pick fun of. And this film, in many ways, kind of picked fun of. I kept telling you throughout the film, like, oh, that's a reference to this, or like the scenes where they're having to shoot out or whatever, and they're like randomly twitching. That's like such a reference to all the old spaghetti Western movies, where a lot of them have like these extreme close-ups, and like you could see like every little like twitch and stuff like that. The opening and closing credits were very spaghetti Western referenced. Even the music was done in the spaghetti Western style. So I dug that. But why Adam Sandler? I think I know why. Because Netflix wanted to make a lot of money. You see, what I believe is that shows such as Marco Polo and other shows such as Marco Polio and House of Cards have caused Netflix to kind of go down, their money revenue to go down. And they've added a bunch of new movies to Netflix as a result of this. And I believe that they saw Adam Sandler. Everyone knows Adam Sandler. Everyone loves Adam Sandler. And I fucking hate to admit this, but every one of Adam Sandler's movies are a success. None of them are flops. And so Netflix was like, make a movie. And he signed up to do 3 more or 2 more?
Well, in total 4, including this one.
Oh my god. That's just horrible.
Apparently they're currently filming the next one.
Is it going to cost $60 million?
I have no idea.
I don't like Adam Sandler. I don't like his style of comedy. Even his songs on SNL, I never liked. I don't know if you're familiar with his SNL career or not.
Yeah.
It was pretty much the same shtick as before. That being said, Adam Sandler's made a few good films. I think he did good in a film called Spanglish. That was a more serious film than a comedy. I think he did very good in that. My favorite film he's made is actually Click.
Yes, I've seen Click.
Click started off as one of his horrible schlock films, and I was like, oh, god damn it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, halfway into the film, the halfway point of the film onwards, suddenly it started getting serious, and you actually started caring for these characters, and it proved to me, especially in that sequence where he's on his deathbed, proved to me just how good of an actor Adam Sandler could be if he cares about what he's doing. Ironically, I'm going to say the same thing about Taylor Lautner. I think Taylor Lautner can be a genuinely good actor. He's in this film. Taylor Lautner could have been a good actor if he stopped picking fucking shit to be in. It got past a certain point where to me it's like Adam Sandler just stopped caring about his career. I'm not a fan of his films like at all. 50 First Dates I think is one of the creepiest films I've ever seen. That's the film about this girl who has amnesia, and she always thinks that every day's the same day, and then he tricks her to falling in love with him, and he has to tell her over and over and over again that they're married and stuff like that. One of the creepiest films ever made. His earlier films, it's the one where he was like the golfer.
Happy Gilmore.
I fucking hate that movie. I think that's one of the most retarded pieces of shit I've ever seen. The dumbest humor. And I had to listen to people quote it every day in school, thinking that they're smart shit. And then there was me who was quoting Citizen Kane and like Seven Samurai and shit, and people were like, "Adam, you're so retarded." It's a struggle being a film geek. It's a struggle. You know, those starving kids in Africa, they don't know what struggle means until they go to high school here in North America and try to quote some art. I think Adam Sandler was the worst thing about this film. In terms of character-wise.
It's really hard to explain.
Yeah.
His again, as typical of Adam Sandler, he's doing a voice. And
he's trying to do a Clint Eastwood, I think. A Clint Eastwood kind of, like, I'm gonna talk.
his voice is very low and gruff, but it gets so boring.
Yeah, it is. It's extremely boring. I think Adam Sandler is generally, he's the least charismatic thing about this movie.
Yeah.
Like, everything else in this film, to the point where it's almost tiring, is over-the-top insanity. And then there's him. And it'd be one thing if they're doing it to play it up for laughs, but it's not. It's clearly him not giving a shit about his work.
And he's our main character.
He is our main character. What is this film about, Mark? Give a brief plot synopsis to the wonderful audience here that is listening to us blab on about a guy who is much more successful than we are, and overall much more handsome than we are, and much more Jewish.
Basically, Adam Sandler's character, his name is Tommy, but he is also known as White Knife because...
See, I always thought they were saying White Knight.
Yeah, I kind of...
thing, and it turned out to be White Knife.
It's because he's really
uses knives.
Yeah.
That's his shtick. You know, like a lot of spaghetti westerns had that too, where each character had like their weapon.
Yeah.
Navajo Joe, ironically, Navajo Joe, we're watching Boogie Nights in the background before we're recording this. Navajo Joe's played by Burt Reynolds, but he has an axe. A lot of spaghetti westerns would have, like, one of them had a bat, one of them was a clown costume. It was fucking weird. And his was knives, and his backstory was his father fucked this bitch, got her pregnant, he was born, and then he watched her get brutally murdered Batman style in front of him.
Are we talking about the movie now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. That's what happened.
Sorry.
His mother got shot.
We're talking about Navajo Joe. Well, what? No, we're talking about eight-legged freaks now. I mean, the retarded eight.
Yeah, basically what Adam said. His mother was shot in front of him, and then for like most of his life now, he's been raised by this Native American tribe with the most racist names ever.
Well, I can tell you what. That's where a lot of controversy came with this movie, because apparently the racism, not so much in the film, but what was happening on set, was really bad. And a lot of Native Americans, including the guy who plays his kind of like adoptive dad, walked off set. Like flat out, like quit, walked off set. That's pretty bad. And we all know that Adam Sandler is the king of sensitivity when it comes to people who are slightly different than his Jewish ass self. You know, when watching the film, I wasn't struck by the racism. It was really stereotyping, don't get me wrong. However, it didn't strike me as something like, oh my god. It just struck me as Adam Sandler humor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it'd really be more just like, oh, it's this.
Right, and it wasn't as bad.
You're expecting it now.
I don't think it was as bad as what everyone was making it out to be.
Yeah.
Though it was pretty bad. Though there was one joke that made me laugh, and that was when the guy was like, why don't you bring him? He has a good white man impersonation. And he says, look at me, I'm going to go down to eat my potato chips. And I'm like, okay, that was pretty good.
Okay, so it's many years later, and Tommy's father just suddenly appears, you know, saying that, like, oh, I'm your father and all that. And
Luke.
And then some bandits come in. Led
by Danny Trejo.
Led by Danny Trejo.
I don't care. Danny Trejo makes everything better. I fucking love that man.
So the bandits kidnap Tommy's father, and now Tommy is willing to find him and give the bandits 50 grand. And then basically throughout the rest of the movie, or for a good portion of the movie, Tommy goes out finding his father, and along the way he meets 5 other people who are his like
his half brothers.
Yeah.
And they're all as crazy as you'd think. One, I don't think anything he does is funny. The only saving grace of his was the donkey he has.
Yeah.
Because it kept shitting all over the place.
Yeah, that's the... It's really It's really sad. It's really sad when the one kind of joke that we both laughed the hardest at was a poop joke.
What it was. I'm not afraid to admit that I find poop jokes funny. A lot of times I think poop jokes are kind of funny, if they're done right. And all of a sudden, it's like after Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler meet up, they're hugging, and then all of a sudden he lets go, and all of a sudden the donkey's just in the background, and all of a sudden you just hear, it's just an explosion of diarrhea all up this wall, and it took me so off guard, it made me laugh.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Because I wasn't expecting it. Too bad I think they ruined it. They ruined it by making it like such a reoccurring thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That I think they ruined it. The randomness of it, because I think the randomness of it just being in that one scene, it would have worked just fine.
Rob Schneider's character Ramon is
Ramon is a reference to a spaghetti western film. It's a reference to A Fistful of Dollars, the first of the Dollars trilogy, directed by Sergio Leone. And Ramon was the bad guy.
Okay.
Who also had a donkey.
Rob Schneider's character was the first brother that we find. The second one is Little Pete, played by Taylor Lautner.
Oh my god.
Taylor Lautner is Forrest Gump.
That is the greatest comparison I can think of in this film. Because he's writing letters and he speaks like this. He's clearly trying to channel his inner Forrest Gump.
And his little quirk, he's got a third nipple.
He's got a third nipple. That is very important, is that he has a third nipple. We wouldn't know anything. He's related to Christopher Lee from Man with the Golden Gun, James Bond movies, because he has a third nipple.
Yeah.
And the thing with him is that he's a sex symbol. And God, I have such a huge boner for him, and I'm not afraid to admit it. There were parts in the film where I was bored, and I was just looking up at pictures at fucking Taylor Lautner shirtless.
Yeah, I'm trying to pay attention to the film while Adam here is busy looking at pictures.
I'm having eye sex with Taylor Lautner. His joke throughout this thing, because he's such a sex symbol in Twilight, and I think the movie's called Abduction, something that was horrible. And his shtick is that he always has to have his shirt off, and he's the sex symbol. Mm-hmm. And the quirk was, granted, not executed well at all, but that he is unattractive. They gave him these weird teeth. They made him have the idea of the third nipple, which we never see.
Yeah.
We never see. I thought it would have been funnier if we saw it. They made him retarded, so they're trying to make him as unattractive as possible, and unfortunately, he's still very malicious. So then we meet who?
Herm.
Is he the guy played by Hurley from Lost?
Yes.
He's my favorite one. I didn't think I'd like him at the beginning because I thought it was just ridiculous, but then he said he was played by Hurley from Lost, and Hurley from Lost is my favorite character from that show. Not just because he's fat and I'm fat, but because he had a genuinely good character, and he actually made me laugh throughout. He didn't make me laugh, but I actually enjoyed. It looked like the character was having the guy who plays Hurley. The actor was having fun. It looked like the actor was having fun.
Yeah, his character does not actually speak words. I think it was because like his mother apparently drank when she was pregnant with him. So
she's retarded. He's retarded, and
I would say not as retarded as Taylor Lautner.
Not as retarded as Taylor Lautner. I think is more like
he's just stupid.
Yeah, he and has sex with cantaloupes. What?
Oh yeah.
Was it cantaloupes?
Yeah, it was cantaloupes.
Okay. Well, yeah. Hurley has. I'm just gonna call him Hurley. Hurley has sex with these other things that apparently makes a giant green thing, and then Steve Buscemi fucking comes and fixes it. That was actually a very gross scene.
Oh yeah.
The scene where it's like he uses this ointment to cure his ball sack, and then he uses it to put on the shaving cream. And in the same hand, he doesn't like dip it in and then do it again. No, he just uses the same glove on his hand, and he uses it to brush someone's teeth, which is a running gag throughout this film. Is that the Wild West was gross, and the Wild West was gross. But if you're going to do a spoof of spaghetti westerns, which idolized the Wild West to a point, sometimes of comedy, unintentional comedy, I think it should have been toned down. I think you could have had scenes with Steve Buscemi with them being gross, but I think they went too far, like with him shoving his ass up the donkey. His hand up the donkey's ass. Mm-hmm. And I think that was too much.
The next brother, well, actually, at this time, we meet like the last two within the same scene.
Yes, we do.
There's Danny, played by Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson's brother, who his thing was that he acted as bodyguard for Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
During the day that he was shot.
He was shot.
Like, he just wasn't there. Like, he went out for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just left. Even bumping into
John Wilkes Booth, asking for like an autograph or some shit. He was like, I'm a huge fan of you, John Wilkes. Oh my god, it's the legendary John Wilkes Booth. And I'm like, oh god. And then the final brother is played by the guy in the Old Spice commercials.
Yeah, his name is Chico, played by Terry Crews. And his little quirk,
his quirk
is that he can play piano with his penis.
Because that is so intelligent. They could do so much with that. Him playing piano with his penis. And what's funny is that at the ending when he's playing the piano with his dick, it's playing 2 chords at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did his dick just go like turn into a tentacle monster from out of an H.P. Lovecraft story? I mean, that's what I was envisioning. I don't know about you.
Maybe he's able to separate his sack or something, each testicle playing.
Mm. God, I hope not. That sounds painful.
Yeah, why did I even think about that?
Yeah. It's like Adam Sandler has no sense of humor whatsoever.
Oh my god.
Oh my. And then they find their dad again.
Yeah, like the with them finding like all the brothers being found, like they find all 6, and I feel like not even like halfway through the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, they find
I was expecting them to like.
I thought it was going to
find
be the journey.
I was going for like each individual brother within like each like little kind of story. Because for me, I felt like this movie was very episodic in a way. Because there's always like this one thing happens, and then like they're already going to like some other thing.
Yeah, like the whole thing with Harvey Keitel.
Yeah.
The sub thing with Harvey Keitel where they're trying to steal this giant ass golden nugget.
Yeah.
And that was our introduction to Wilson and the Old Spice guy, right?
Yeah. And
that like was its own plot, its own story within the story.
Yeah, there were lots of these.
There are quite a few of these, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that if the entire film is like that, but only like half the film was like that. Because I'd feel like a film where he's trying to find out more about his father, Adam Sandler's trying to find out more about his father, so on and so forth. It would be better if it was more about the journey of him finding his brothers, and then finally in the last like 15 minutes of the film be that finale. Instead of it being halfway through the film, all this shit happens, and then all of a sudden we have the plot. And I think that's more of a structure problem. Everyone's father is played by who?
Nick Nolte.
And he played the bad guy in Tropic Thunder. And I was like, oh my god, that's him. And his performance is equally as terrible as Adam Sandler's.
Well, I don't know if that's just supposed to be what his character is.
It wasn't supposed to be done for laughs, or?
Because, like, apparently the father is dying of, as he says, consumption, which, when I looked it up, it's also just another term for tuberculosis.
Yeah.
So, he's got that. Yeah, I don't know if it's just because this character is supposed to be old, but there are lots of times when you cannot understand a goddamn thing he says.
Right, and the bad thing about it is that I can't tell if that's being played for laughs or not.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And I'm going to try to do an impersonation. Mark, you and I gotta get going and going.
Oh, that's pretty accurate.
And we gotta do the thing that Chunky's chicken. I wish I was kind of exaggerating, but I'm not, because you do have a very hard time understanding him, and I can't tell if it was supposed to be that way. I would like to think it was. I'd like to think Adam Sandler had somewhat of a brain cell and said, let's do that for laughs. But he doesn't. I don't know. It's Adam Sandler. And so we discover that the evil dude is actually him, right?
Well, actually, like, okay, well, the thing is, there is a point when Adam Sandler's character Tommy he sees an old picture of his father and a couple other people, one of them being Danny Trejo's character,
right?
And he notices this horseshoe tattoo on his arm,
which is a reference to spaghetti westerns. There's a movie called Death Rides a Horse where how he remembers the bad guys that he has a golden tooth. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's common in spaghetti westerns, stuff that kids would no way in hell be able to remember, but they do because westerns and plot and reasons.
Yeah, so it turns out that Tommy figures out that the man who killed his mother, he remembers the tattoo on the hand. So he puts two and two together and finds out that Danny Trejo killed his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes on by his own, leaves his brothers behind.
For no reason.
Because during, the big battle and all that,
they show up.
They show up.
So he leaves for no reason. They went on that kind of...
It's not like one of those, like... The brothers never really had, like, a big... I was expecting, like, since they're all together now, like, they're all buddies, and all of a sudden, I'm expecting them to, like, have some sort of conflict, and, like, they break apart, and then come back later.
Yeah.
I was expecting that, but that didn't really happen.
It didn't really happen. Instead, what we got was the standard, "You're my brother now. You're my friend. We will stick together through thick and thin." That kind of dialogue. And we also had the thing where, like, they lost $50,000 or something like that. And then it became the conflict where they have their doubts in the hero's journey. And all Adam Sandler films follow that route. Even Click, as much as I love Click, it has that moment in it. And it's boring. They don't do anything new. It's really... All Adam Sandler movies are literally the same movies over and over and over again. Just with slightly different tweaks to them. And I'm bored. I'm bored with that. And when that happened, when that money like disappeared, I groaned. I was like, ugh. And that's when I started looking at pictures of Taylor Lautner's naked body again. Because I was so done with this kind of cliched plot structure.
But how surprising that later on they end up getting the $50,000 again. Not only that, they got double.
Yeah, which leads to the twist of the movie.
Father was the bad guy the whole time.
What he does is, what does he do? He sleeps with all these women so that they have bajillions of his babies, and so he always tricks them to go get $50,000 for him because he is so wanted in the West that he can't do anything himself, which I'm like, bullshit. He has like 1,000 guys following him. He has 1,000 of his... Yeah. God, they can just ride into town and just burn it down. But anyways, and so he gets his sons to do it for him. So it's kind of hinted at that he's done it before. Then we have that classic betrayal scene, and then Adam Sandler pins him down into this mine cave thing.
Yeah.
And he's given the choice, do you kill him or not? And I think the film would have been so much better, and it would have been a lot darker if he fucking killed his father. His father's pleading, no, don't kill me, I'm old. And so he just stabs him.
Unfortunately, they don't.
Yeah, they went the cliched route. They copped out. And so then our heroes ride off into the distance. Adam Sandler gets married, and the title of the movie is said.
Yeah, that's the last. Yeah, that's the last line, and it ends with the title.
It's said by Taylor Lautner. Taylor Lautner's the narrator throughout this film. Great, right? And I don't think anything can top Jack and Jill. I really don't think anything can top that in terms of the level of shit that can be produced. There were moments in this film where, as I said earlier, I genuinely laughed. I don't know if you had that either, but I
there were a couple of things.
One of them being the fucking donkey shit. The other one being Harvey Keitel's head getting chopped off because it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
It was shock humor, and believe it or not, I am a fan of shock humor. I am a fan of shock humor if done correctly, and I think it was done pretty well in that sequence because suddenly Rob Schneider comes riding up out of nowhere, and suddenly he just hits him lightly on the head, and suddenly his head comes flying off.
And his body is still moving around, shooting.
Yeah, I think it went on a little too long, but I did laugh at it. And then the whole thing with Hurley imitating it, like not once, but twice, I didn't think was necessary. That could have been cut out.
Yeah, his imitation, it happened. No, he did the imitation at that scene when the decapitation has happened.
Right.
And then in the next scene,
Literally the next scene.
after they do their little like campfire song.
That was the most painful.
And you could, I mean, like, it wasn't really that bad up until the last part where Sandler starts singing. And it makes you hate the character more because when his part comes in, the song gets very slow and depressing.
Well, that was supposed to be the joke, Mark. Laugh. It wasn't funny.
Oh, but, and because of that, the rest finish off the song telling Hurley to do the imitation again. It's like,
and they all laugh, and it's all
we saw that like 2 minutes ago.
Adam Sandler doesn't have a character in the film. That's the problem. All the other characters didn't really have any growth, but they had charisma to them, be it good or bad. Like Rob Schneider, I think, was very annoying throughout the film. But Adam Sandler was just to be the mopey, dopey bad guy, or like the good bad guy, who never talks much. And one of the things that annoys me is that he promises his adopted dad, the Native American guy, that he's only going to rob from wrongdoers. And what does he do? He robs a bank. I think that's supposed to be a running joke throughout the film, is that they're not actually stealing from wrongdoers, they're just fucking robbing banks. Because there is a scene where we see Adam Sandler on a wanted poster. There is a sequence where we do see Adam Sandler on a wanted poster, and I think that was supposed to be a joke, but I didn't laugh at it. That's just piss poor writing. Or maybe not piss poor writing, but piss poor execution. Where a lot of this film is, I'm not sure if we're supposed to laugh at that or not, and I think that's a genuine problem. And one of the big issues is one of the subplots in the film was the Left Eye gang.
The Left Eye gang.
The Left Eye gang. Which, first off, the best character in the film is this guy that has like a really like bad lazy eye. He's the best character in the film because he does nothing but get shit on throughout the entire film.
Yeah, he decides to join the Left Eye gang, and what this gang is that they say that they scoop out their
left eye,
their right eye.
They're so devoted to the gang that they actually scoop out their left eye. And put
they keep their left eye.
Oh, was it? Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they scoop out their right eye, put an eye patch over it because they only care about their left eye for some reason.
And this character's left eye is like really fucked up, and he's like, "Can I just?"
And so he's going through the initiation of scooping out his right eye. He goes through it, and it's at around the end of the movie where it discovers that all like the rest of the gang besides this
poor guy,
were faking it. That they had both of their eyes.
And I felt so bad for this character.
I
felt so bad for him. He gets fucked over throughout the entire movie, and I just feel so terrible for him. But that whole subplot kind of goes nowhere because they end up coming at the end to help the retarded 8, and they come down and kind of help save the day. I really wanted there to be a really epic, badass, bloody shootout at the end of this film. There is none. And that was a bit of a letdown. Actually, that was quite a bit of a letdown. I think the entire ending of this film was a giant letdown, like Adam Sandler's career. And it wasn't, they just kind of show up and then they just stand around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't... You could have cut them out. You seriously could have cut them out, and it wouldn't have really affected the overall structure of the movie any, I don't think.
Well, I mean, they do appear in the first scene to establish Adam Sandler's character.
But all the scenes with the guy cutting his eyeball out, and we see the string, and then he snips the string and everything like that, that could have been cut out. And I don't think it would have made much of a difference whatsoever. And I don't know what else I was going to say. The only thing that kept me kind of on my toes throughout this film was the amount of cameos that are in the film. There are so many cameos.
I already knew, like, the cast beforehand because they've had it up there, and I'm seeing these people, like, it just shows the power that Adam Sandler has.
No, they're the reason why this film wound up costing $60 million. All these cameos.
Yeah. I mean, of course, a lot of them being a bunch of, SNL alumni. Because they got the ones that, obviously have nothing else to do.
Yeah. I'm surprised Kevin James wasn't in it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised Kevin James wasn't in it. I mean, they got Vanilla Ice. Get this. Vanilla Ice plays Mark Twain. That's the gag.
Yeah.
That pissed me off. Because they did nothing with that gag. And they should have done something with that gag. The only gag was that it's Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, it's basically Vanilla Ice dressed up as Mark Twain, acting like Vanilla Ice.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. I guess the joke was that Mark Twain was such a poet that suddenly you see him saying nigga, fuck, shit, tit, whatever. Not to that extreme, because this is PG-13. I guess that was supposed to be the joke, but it wasn't funny. Because Vanilla Ice isn't funny. I did enjoy... Who was the guy who played Custer?
David Spade.
I did enjoy that. I thought he looked the role. Because David Spade, if you look at pictures of General Custer, who was a real guy, he was the guy at the Little Bighorn who got his troop massacred.
Yeah.
He was a real dude, and like the whole gambling game during that sequence, I thought was funny because that actually fucking happened.
There is, speaking of the gambling scene, there is one joke in this.
Oh my god! I'm glad you brought this up.
That was so bad that I groaned so hard at it.
You did. The only reason why I started laughing at this was because of Mark's reaction.
Okay, so in this, 3 of the brothers are there to, like, infiltrate. It was Rob Schneider, Hurley, and Terry Crews. They're there just to... And there is this, like, signal that they have.
Which I didn't catch.
Because you're probably looking at Taylor Lautner.
I was.
Their signal is this. And when I saw this, I'm thinking like, oh, it's like, Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone.
Yeah.
And so Rob Schneider is sitting with everyone at the table.
Yeah, Mark Twain, this general guy, and General Custer. And they're Wider fucking shows up. And they're all gambling.
And I guess Rob Schneider was trying to...
Something because he didn't have the money to bet. He didn't have the money to bet, and so
he's trying to signal.
He was trying to signal Hurley's character,
but they're all gone.
Yeah, they're all gone. So he's just...
and then Custer, David Spade, he says, "Oh, that's the same kind of face I make when I put on my cologne when I'm home alone." He said that, and I went like this.
And what's great is that he kind of like looks at the camera when he says it, like it's such a meta thing, and I'm like, that's supposed to be funny.
Like, I got it without even anyone having to explain it in the movie.
Right. The joke was not self-explanatory. Well, I mean, the joke was self-explanatory. I'm sorry. The joke
Yeah.
was self-explanatory. You didn't need someone to explain it. It's one of those jokes, like adult jokes in cartoons. You don't need to explain every joke that happens. If they miss it, they miss it. They will find something else that's funny. But the adults will probably catch on to it. This is that kind of joke where it's like you don't need to have somebody actually say, "Oh, look, it's from all along."
They probably the writer. It was probably the writer's fault.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
they purposely made the hand signal that just so they could probably put in a Home Alone reference.
The editing before it was funny though, because what happens is Hurley, one of the guys who's gambling was making fun of Hurley unintentionally because he didn't realize it was Hurley. And so Hurley follows him into it and kills him.
Yeah, the whole thing with that is this character played by SNL alumni John Lovitz. He's talking about this woman,
Yeah.
and it turns out to be Hurley's mother.
Mm-hmm.
So he's insulting. He's even insulting himself, like even insulting Hurley. So which then leads to
Him brutally killing him.
yeah.
And so the editing is funny because suddenly it goes from that to Rob Schneider going like, and then it cuts away to something else happening. And then all of a sudden it cuts back. The music completely stops. All sound effects go away. It's just this long lingering shot of him standing there and Wyatt Earp and Custer and Twain just looking at each other like, what are you doing? That was funny. That was funny because it's a self-referential joke, and the timing was funny, and then it's ruined by letting it linger on more, and having that whole thing. It's like I put on the fucking shit when I'm home. I don't give a fuck. I found
it also doesn't
go
with that kind of reference. It doesn't work with this kind of movie.
It doesn't. Oh my god.
Do you think people in the Old West watched Home Alone?
Oh no, I want to say this. This movie's shot gorgeously.
Oh yeah.
And what was funny was during the opening credits where it says the Hateful Six, it says shot in 4K down at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. I laughed so hard at that because that was a huge reference to a lot of the old westerns that would say shot in Cinerama, shot in CinemaScope, shot in Panavision, shot in Cinerama. They would always say that little thing down in the corner. It's like, oh look, we shot this and that, and this one was we shot it in 4K, which I don't know if you noticed this, but 4K I have a problem with 4K on these TVs because it's so dense with how many pixels are on it. It causes things to kind of like shake when like a camera's panning or something like that. It's like things will look grainy, and I have a problem with 4K. Then again, I don't want to shoot in 4K either. My problem with 4K, and this goes into something extremely, extremely large that maybe I'll talk about on something else, but my problem with 4K is that you can do almost anything with 4K because there's so many pixels. You can zoom in and do everything to it, and it'll look fine. That the whole idea of art relies on restrictions is completely taken out.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm saying that never have worked when I've never worked with 4K. So would I say that if I started working with 4K? I don't know. That's why I'm kind of still on the fence about it. But the fact that it said shot in 4K down in the corner was pretty funny. And the other thing, I think all the stuff during the day is gorgeously lit. It's gorgeously shot. A lot of it, I found out, was that they used natural lighting. The director used a lot of natural lighting where they just have a flag up and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. And with just a little bit tweaking in the color correction room, pulling out the greens and stuff like that, it looks fucking gorgeous. It's shot gorgeously. The cinematography is gorgeous in this film. That being said, though, the stuff that takes place at night is so fucking hard to see whatever is going on. And it's not just because my TV's brightness is too low.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was your TV
I turned up the
or...
brightness to see if it worked, and it didn't. It just made everything blue, and it looked worse. It's literally the print. It's the print. It's too dark. It's like the Godzilla 2014 Blu-ray. The Godzilla 2014 Blu-ray, it's like they decreased the brightness on it by like 20%, and it's awful. It's god awful. It's one of the worst Blu-rays to ever come onto the Blu-ray realm. It's oh my god, I want to pee on it. And
It's Godzilla.
it's Godzilla awful. That sounds like a waffle. A Godzilla waffle.
It's a waffle shaped like Godzilla.
Yeah.
Just his body or just his head?
Well, I ate a pancake this morning shaped like a penis. The more you know. But you agree with me that the nighttime shots, everything's too dark.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
know what was going on. It wasn't just my TV. I shut the shades and everything to make sure it wasn't the glare or anything. And
it was especially during the climax with like the big conflict with Adam Sandler and the father, like when they're in the mine or whatever that was. There were lots of times when like you could see absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Maybe like a bit of stuff like in the corner, but it's just like the speck that just like moved.
Yep.
The rest of it is just like darkness.
That's my complaint with that. That is my biggest complaint with the film aesthetically. But I will say this. Huge fucking props to the fact that all the gunshots in this film are not CGI. They're actual blanks. They actually used actual blanks. Props to that, because no movie fucking ever uses blanks anymore. It's all CGI. I look at The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead one drives me up the wall. There's no practical gore effects in terms of like splattering blood or gunshots in that film. It's all CGI, and that drives me up the fucking wall.
Yeah, the only CGI that I really saw was the scene where the brothers are up against a not yet baseball game.
Yes.
Where they're versing
Which is
that
is such a pointless scene.
Yeah, they're facing up against actor John Turturro, who's known as the Jesus in The Big Lebowski.
He's a pedophile.
Apparently, it's like the whole premise of this scene is that this guy is creating baseball, and throughout the whole game, he's like making up the rules, but these rules he's making up are what become the actual rules of baseball. And it's I completely forgot about it until now. I just realized.
It's completely pointless. That scene literally could have been cut out.
Like the character doesn't come back later or anything like that?
Yeah, it could have been cut out, and the film would have.
Yeah, this movie is just under 2 hours, and for me, it felt longer than that.
It felt like a 3-hour film. It felt really, really long, and so I'm going to tell you my biggest complaint with the film. The fact that this movie cost $60 million blows my mind.
Oh yeah, there's that.
Okay, it's got some pretty cool sets, you know? They use real blanks. That costs a lot for insurance. It takes a lot to get to, because a lot of this was shot on location. That's props for that. My second favorite film of all time, Gods and Generals, is a huge epic. Hundreds of extras. Thousands of extras. Entire cities built just to be blown up for battle sequences. Hundreds of cannons. That movie cost $56 million to make. What year was that made? 2003.
Okay.
The inflation is not too much different.
Yeah.
That cost $56 million to make. Gettysburg, a movie that had 15,000 extras show up to shoot, cost $14 million to make.
I don't know what the problem is.
It's Adam Sandler paying his friends. That is the shadiest goddamn business transactions that could be done. That is so shady and so wrong and such a middle finger to the form of filmmaking. That is not how film should be made. That pisses me off so much. I don't care if you want to make a movie or not. I just got done doing a Shiro Honda-thon. It's known that Ishiro Honda, at one point in his career, said, fuck it, I don't want to make these movies anymore, but I'm going to still make them. He still had a damn passion behind these films. you could tell that there was still, despite the fact that he didn't want to make them, that he gave a damn what he tried to put on screen. That he cared. He didn't want to make these films anymore. He only did it for the money. But he gave a shit. And because of that, there was a heart and there was a soul behind those movies that I always admire, and I will always admire. Then you've got some shithead asshole like Adam Sandler, who is just doing this literally for the money when he's got a gajillion dollars. He doesn't have to work another fucking day in his life. He's nothing but a greedy pig who is swindling all this money out of us, out of all these people who go to the fucking theaters to do it, to go see their films, out of all of these hard-working producers that want to give a damn about what they're making, and he's just swindling that money out of there so he can help his friends out and make more money than what they are because they're too lazy to go out there and actually get a better job on their own. There is no passion behind these fucking movies. No passion behind them whatsoever. That is not how fucking movies are made. Michael fucking Bay has more passion behind his fucking films than this fuck-ass asshole, Adam Sandler. And American audiences, and their glorious wisdom, eats this fucking shit up. Eats it up. And they call this art. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say about this film. So, Mark, any final thoughts of the film?
I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I mean, as expected. I wasn't expecting this to be like, this hilarious thing. No.
I was expecting shit. I got something a little better than shit. This wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. But this wasn't the best thing I've ever seen either. This is far from it. I would rather watch a Neil Breen film than this. Because there's an art to how bad Neil Breen is.
Yes.
And there's passion behind it, as I've said before. There's a passion behind it. There's no passion behind this. This is kind of a bore fest, though there are some jokes that do make me laugh. What would you rate this film?
Not the rating that it has on Netflix right now, which currently right now is about like 4 stars. I'd probably give it maybe 1.
About maybe 1. That's
Well,
actually
1.5.
That's more strict than me. I was gonna give it 2. I was gonna give it 1.5 to 2, but I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt because it did make me laugh a few times. I'm gonna give it 2.
Okay.
And so anything else you have to say?
Well, I mean, with that big speech you just made not that long ago, left me speechless.
Oh my god. I'm done. I'm fucking...
What?
Fucking...
What?
Fucking done. Fucking...
Whoa, whoa,
cocksucking motherfucker.
Wait, hold on. What are you doing?
Christ.
What are you
fucking
doing?
Cunt.
I gotta
Jesus
get. Come on.
No, you get out.
I need to get the.
Get out.